Hey everybody, how you doing? My name's Kyle. Welcome back. If you've been here before, if you haven't been here before, don't worry about it. You're not alone, but I am glad that you're here. Today we're talking about something different from sports, and it will be my favorite video game franchise, which is The Legend of Zelda. And more importantly, the fact that Illumination reportedly is doing an animated movie, which brings up the conversation, controversial conversation, of how are they going to handle Link talking in the series. And honestly, I think that's a stupid question, because there's no other way to do it. I'm going to explain that here in a second. But if you don't know, the reason why that is a question is because Link, from our perspective, I want to make that very clear, from our out-of-game experience perspective, Link does not talk. We do not hear him. We do not see him talk. He is, by the actual definition of our universe, a silent protagonist. Therefore, he grunts and he makes slight noises. There's one example of him talking, like actual saying sentences during in a game, and that is the Wind Waker, where he'll say stuff like "come on" and all that stuff. You know, a couple of other sentences I don't know off the top of my head, but he does say actual words other than just grunts. But where the controversy comes in is because of this, everybody thinks that he is mute, or that he is silent, that he is incapable of talking. Some people are smart enough to realize that he is capable of talking but chooses not to. But the fact of the matter is, that is just from our perspective. In the in-game universe, there are several obvious examples of him talking to other characters that we do not hear or see. So therefore, in the in-game universe, he communicates verbally with the people around him. So with that being said, the question of how are we going to handle him talking in a movie is the dumbest question that can be asked when it comes to this series, because obviously he needs to talk, he needs to speak to the other characters. One of the main reasons why Link does not talk in the from our perspective, is because Link is, I'm going to explain the actual origin of his name. Link is designed to be the link between us and the video game world that we are exploring. IGA Onuma did that strategically because he wanted us to be able to impart our emotions, our personality, and everything like that on Link as much as we could, given the gameplay limitations. So that is why Link does not talk, because if Link does talk in from our perspective, then that takes you a little bit out of the game. Just, picture Mario, being a Nintendo property, or forget Master Chief from Halo. Along those lines, like, you obviously know that you are not this character, but IGA Onuma wanted us to feel like we are actually the protagonist of the series. Therefore, Link does not talk. Link is the link from us to that world. But it was also done in practicality because, back in 1985, when the series was first developed and made, there wasn't a whole lot of voice acting, if any, in the video games, in the video game world. I was born in 1991, so therefore I'm not too familiar. I didn't really do a whole lot of research outside of Zelda for this video. So there may have been something, I think Mortal Kombat may have had grunts and, slight little sayings, stuff here or there, but I don't know completely off the top of my head. But the majority of video games at that time did not have it. And so they did the little text bubbles. And, well, you're thinking, well, if they're doing the little text bubbles, then Link could be talking. But then it goes back to the first thing that I said. But two, you don't want to have to read what you just did to Link explaining it to another character of what you just did. Like, that's impractical, inefficient, and like boring, because now you just like skip it, which a lot of us do anyway, especially on the second run-throughs of the game. But in the later games, specifically, I'm going to talk Ocarina of Time on, because that's mostly what I've played. I haven't played the handhelds. I'm going to be speaking mostly of console games, and games specifically that I've played. So from Ocarina of Time and on, you still have that little function where you get asked a question by Zelda, and like she asks you, "What is your name?" and you have the chance to, you know, give her your name. And whenever you do that, the text box pops up with an ellipses, which is signifying you are explaining and answering Zelda's question. Therefore, you are having a conversation in game with Zelda. Yet we, as the player, are not hearing it. We are, however, seeing it. It goes farther. Like I said, in Wind Waker, he actually does speak a little bit in sentences as you're running through, or partial sentences as you're running through the game. But it goes even farther with Twilight Princess, where they even animated Link's mouth moving in cutscenes when being asked questions and explaining things. Therefore, we visually see Link having a conversation. Like we know he is explaining it. And from there, in Skyward Sword, the very next game that came out, they even animated Link's entire body as he's, I think it's called pantomiming, to Groose and other characters, these little movements with his body as he's, you know, explaining it, because Skyward Sword is a little bit more cartoonish than a lot of the other games, except for obviously Wind Waker, in that series. So yes, we have canonical evidence of Link speaking. Link is not mute. He is not silent. He just chooses a lot, and this is actually from Breath of the Wild. There's a diary entry by Zelda where it says that he has chosen not to speak, he has chosen to remain silent while he focuses on his goal, which is saving Hyrule and defeating Ganon and all that good stuff. But what that leads us to believe is he talked before everything went to crap, and he's probably going to talk after, but he's probably just as strong and silent type as a lot of people have said. But the fact of the matter is, he is not incapable of speaking. And in a movie, and I actually thought about this while filming this exact take, is when you're playing the video game, it is designed for you to be the main character. When you're watching the movie, you are not designed to be the main character. You're a third party that is not within the immersive world of Hyrule. You are an observer. You're watching it unfold. Therefore, it makes sense for Link to talk even more than we do see in the video games. So with that said, if you're one of the people that says that Link should not talk in the movies because he does not talk in the games, you're 100% wrong, for the simple fact Link does talk in the games. You just don't hear it or see it, but there is often, you do see it on occasion. But there is canonical evidence that he speaks in game. So therefore, you're wrong. Stop talking about it. I'll see you later.